one of the greatest needs in the body of Christ today, one of the greatest needs in the body of Christ today and in society at large is discipleship. One of the greatest needs in the body of Christ today and by extension in society is the need for discipleship. What is discipleship? Methodical mentorship that leads people to become Christ-like and to become responsible. Discipleship. Please look up. This is very important. The Lord began to burn in my heart again the need to drum this, that one of the major needs in the body of Christ today is discipleship. You see, when new converts or those who just get born again, if and when they are not discipled, eventually the gaps in their spiritual understanding and the fact that the flesh is so alive will make them easy praise for the devil to come into partnership with their unrenewed minds and cause a lot of trouble, first in the body of Christ and then by extension in society. Are we together? This is very, very important. When new converts are not discipled, they will eventually become problems, first to the church and then to the larger community. Let me tell you this, every national problem, please look up, every national problem was first a regional problem that was not managed properly. Every regional problem was once upon a time a family problem that was not managed effectively, and every family problem was once an individual problem. You see how nations are destroyed. So an individual who is not discipled creates trouble in a family that is not discipled, creates trouble in a society or a region that is not discipled. Eventually that individual will constitute a nuisance to not only family, not only society, but to the nation and even the continent at large. Most of the people today that trouble civilization, trouble the peace and tranquility of territories, all of them come from home, and they did not just evolve into troublemakers of all kinds. Individuals, when they are saved and their understanding is not so constructed, especially for believers, they may have given their lives to Christ, but we know that just giving your life to Christ, this is entry into the kingdom. Imagine with me, for instance, that a woman gives birth to a baby and throws the baby down. Most often than not, that child will most likely be a hooligan or will be a troublemaker eventually. Why? Because the opportunity to have proper parenting, upbringing is not there. You can solve the problem of a nation very easily if you understand the dynamics of how problems are created. They first start at an individual level, then if left unchecked and not dealt with, they graduate into problems in families. Then from families, when those individuals are now sent from those families, they become troubles to society, communities, and to regions. And if left unchecked, they will rise to become national people who multiply the same problem. And these are the kinds of conditions that demon spirits look for. They look for individuals with no platform for discipleship. They look for families with no codes of conduct, no modus operandi. Anything just happens. They look for territories that are lawless. They look for nations with no law. This is how people are destroyed. It is very easy to destroy a nation. It is very easy to destroy a family. It is very easy to destroy a territory. All you need to do is ignore discipleship at an individual level. Just let people do anything they want to do unchecked. For a while it will look like they know what they are doing, until you begin to see the damage to the family, to territory, to society, and to the nation. Are we together? So at the heart of transformation is discipleship. That is it. If we want to change this nation, we want to change Africa, we must obtain grace and wisdom from God to get back into the subject of methodical mentorship, discipleship. At least for a start, we can start with younger believers. This has been a mistake that most people have made, respectfully speaking, especially those in the mission field. We focus so much about soul winning, missions, and that is wonderful, but there is no system to manage these people when they are saved. At best, we just tell them, go to this church, and when they get to the church, if the church does not have a structure, a teaching priest to now begin to help those people, they are in trouble. Because when those people sit there, the flesh wants to find expression, and because there is no system to keep dealing with it, I tell you, eventually you are going to see all shades of trouble. The headache that the man of God will go through because of people that are saved and they just pile them into the church, no growth, no development. And this is how you keep having all this trouble everywhere. Are we blessed? This is not my sermon, or this is a burden. Let me just offload that one, then we'll get to the sermon for tonight. Are we together? Discipleship, therefore, is the foundation for true and lasting transformation in individuals, families, institutions, and nations. Let me repeat myself. Discipleship, therefore, by reason of the aforementioned, discipleship, therefore, is the foundation for true and lasting transformation in individuals, families, institutions, and nations. We must restore the system of discipleship. My second thought. Are you ready for the second one? To be uninformed, I wrote here, is bad. But to be misinformed is worse. To be uninformed is bad. Ignorance is a terrible thing at any level. To be uninformed is bad, but to be misinformed is worst. Please write it and look up. This is very true. To be uninformed is very bad. Ignorance is terrible. It can cost you a lot, including your life. But the more serious trouble is to be misinformed. When you meet someone who is ignorant, the person does not necessarily need renewal. The person just needs information that produces transformation. Is that true? But when you meet someone who is ill-informed or misinformed, you need renewal first before you now begin the journey of transformation. Someone who has not begun a journey, he does not need to turn back. You just need to direct the person to the right place and he fires on. But one who has veered off so far, he will need to come back to that point before you now point him to the right direction. This leads me to this next point. We must examine the content of our doctrines and the content we use to mentor people. Because I have spoken now about the need for discipleship, but there are many people who are in trouble today because they submitted to discipleship. They submitted to discipleship, but the content was inaccurate, largely unscriptural. So in as much as we advocate discipleship to help people, most people, you only train people from the residue of your own philosophies and your own ideologies. And if your ideology is wrong, as an individual, as a parent, as a man of God, you will communicate that error to people. Now let me tell you this: sincerity does not necessarily mean truthfulness. Just because people are sincere does not mean that they are right. Most of the error and the trouble, the imbalances that come, they come from sincere people, especially the one that comes from we preachers. We may be sincere, and so most people believe those information in honor to the sincerity of the man of God, not the truthfulness of the content. I can teach a lie, I can teach something that is imbalanced or false, and just because you perceive me to be a sincere person, in honor to my sincerity, you will now swallow up the error that I'm teaching. I may be sincere, but it does not automatically mean that what I'm saying is right. More than sincerity, we must obtain grace from God to seek truth. What delivers is not sincerity. It says, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Many sincere people are destroying the purposes of God. Many sincere people are destroying God's divine patterns and divine order. So in addition to sincerity, which is commendable, we must press for truth. The content of our mentorship must be scriptural, it must be balanced, it must be communicated with intention and intelligence to be able to raise and build a people of stature. Otherwise, we'll keep having these shades of lopsidedness, spiritual lopsidedness. So two burdens tonight. One is that at the back of every transformation, national transformation, regional, family, is the need for mentorship. Everybody here comes from a family. Many people here are parents. We can start by being intentional. Don't just allow people do what they want to do. Allow children do what they do. I know that we live in times where, you know, people just have their ideas. But you see, this Bible is our manual for a life of victory. Let God be true and all men liars.